take notes, bloody blah. We've genuinely got so much to get through. I wanted to cram as much value as possible into this. Yeah, when we've done these in the past, and they've gone really well, thankfully, we've just focused on one traffic source, and that's normally been Facebook. This is the first one where we're doing two. We're going to cover how you can generate leads from Facebook, how you can generate clients from there, but also how you can do it from Google, which is a incredible traffic source, far more potent than Facebook, purely because there's intent there, people actually looking for what you have. So let's start moving through everything, and as I say, please do take notes and pay attention as best you can, because we're going to be covering a lot. So first and foremost, we're going to be covering how you can build effective Facebook ad and Google ad campaigns to attract new clients that are going to be easy to learn, easy to set up, easy to manage, and most importantly, easy to scale for maximum results. It's all well and good having a great profitable campaign, but you need to be able to grow these things and expand so that you can expand your business. Oh, here I am, technical expert, making mistakes already. So if you've already tried, and I'm sure many of you have, you've maybe even tried Facebook or Google before, but if you've tried, just pestering people for referrals, doing the more sort of traditional things like handing out flyers, taking out ads in magazines, newspapers, that sort of thing, I totally understand. I've been there myself in the past, as has almost everyone that I've engaged with over the years. But if you've tried all that stuff and it hasn't panned out for you, you don't need to worry, because once you've gone through this session with us, you can have confidence in attracting prospective clients. Even if this is going to be your first time doing this stuff, you can stop banging your head against the wall and just clearly focus on what actually works. There's so much noise online when it comes to things like Facebook ads, Google ads. One of my main goals of this session today is to just clear a lot of the fog, just give you a very clear, focused view on what works and how you can use it for your benefit. So there's a chance that you're probably here today because maybe you haven't launched your business yet, and when you do go to do it, you want to make sure that you do it the right way, waste as little money and time as possible. I can totally understand that. Maybe you've already launched and you're doing quite well, but you've perhaps hit a bit of a ceiling with what you're doing at the minute, and you're struggling to sort of break through that and take things further. Maybe you're a bit frustrated right now by what feels like a lack of control in your business, in the economy. Things just seem to change rapidly from 1 month to another at the moment. Certainly seems like that over here anyway. And maybe you're just exhausted, burnt out and fed up with constantly posting on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, or just doing things that either A, you don't have confidence in, or B, worse, you're not comfortable doing. Everyone keeps telling you, oh, this is what you have to do to generate clients. But you don't like doing videos and you don't like doing things like that. I know how that feels, and it can be really annoying. So what I'm going to show you today is stuff that doesn't require you to massively get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to learn a little bit of tech stuff, but as you've seen already, you don't need to be a wizard to be able to pull this stuff off. Genuinely, anybody can do it. And the proof is there because we've taught so many people how to do this already. You do not need to worry. You're in the right place today to be set up for success. Before we get into all the good stuff, I do just want to give a very quick roundup of who I am, just so that you can have a bit of confidence in what I'm saying and a bit of trust that you can listen to me. My name is Sean Pope, if that isn't obvious already. I first learned Facebook ads the hard way back in 2017, which really sounds and feels like a long time ago now. I was trying to use agencies, do courses and things like that. Wasn't really getting anywhere. So I was fortunate to be in a position where I built up a lot of savings from a sales job I had at the time. And I just started setting fire to money on Facebook ads, basically, and testing and learning and doing things that way. And that put me in a position where I was able to launch my first performance-based agency at the end of 2017, which was a great success. We did that on a performance basis, so we were getting paid commission for leads and clients that we were generating for businesses. We were able to bank over £1 million in commissions, generating sales for various different types of businesses. I've managed literally millions in advertising spend for my clients across loads of different sectors and platforms, from really sexy and exciting stuff like estate planning and home insurance to more obscure things like erotic content libraries and God knows what else. You name it, I've probably ran ads in it, and there's a good chance that at some point you've probably seen an ad that I have served to you. And as I said, this is something I've done across both Facebook and Google. I've surpassed 20 million in advertising spend now, not personally, of the various projects and campaigns that I've managed over the years. And I've done all of this using a very clear, simple, and effective framework for generating prospective clients on Facebook. And this is without relying on agencies, lead partners, third parties, without doing any gimmicky stuff, any hacky stuff, without having to rely on cold email, cold messaging, anything like that at all. I am at heart a lazy person, frankly. I like to do things the easy way, and I like to do things in a way that can be easily replicated and repeated. Obviously, that's not something you lead with your clients in this game. You don't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to copy what I did for the last guy and just change the pictures and the words." That doesn't sell too good. But that is essentially it, and that's what I'm going to be showing you today. I'm going to be showing you several examples, as well as some sort of backup evidence of other people that have been doing this with us over the last year or so. Doing things the hard way essentially means failing a lot and testing a lot, wasting lots of time, lots of money. If you're like me, losing a lot of sleep, sanity, and your peace of mind. So instead, do things the easy way. Just go out on a limb and trust me on this. Don't do anything else in terms of marketing other than what I'm going to teach you today. Do it for a few weeks and see what difference it makes. That's the best thing you can do, really, and that's the best way you can really put this to the test. So, who is this session for? Anyone who is training to be or has qualified as a coach, practitioner, reader, or therapist. That's who this is specifically aimed at. Anyone who's just starting out or is looking to scale their inquiries. Essentially, anyone who wants to earn more money, and find more people whose lives they can transform. That's what we're doing here today. Just want to show you a very quick shot, a bit of feedback from one of our students that have been in this program.
Well, I first came across Clicks and Clients through Ali Campbell's coaching program. I was on his courses and he told us about Sean's course, Clicks and Clients. So yeah, that's how I became aware of it. I had tried Facebook ads before, but I was just totally confused with the whole back end of Facebook and trying to understand all the stats, etc. So I think what I've achieved is, well, first of all, the understanding of how Facebook ads work, and also that it takes a change. Sometimes it's just like the trying and testing that I mentioned before, but having to tweak possibly something like demographics or the landing page to get more calls booked, which happened with one of my first campaigns that I did. I feel like I'm able to set up and run campaigns on my own now. So yeah, it's been very, very helpful for that. So I've definitely got a better understanding of how to start and create a campaign. So anyone that's starting out with Facebook ads, anybody that's starting up their business and thinking about using ads as a means to get clients, to get leads, and also maybe for people that have maybe been trying Facebook ads and haven't had any great success yet, definitely this is the course to be on. If you're on the fence with this course at all or thinking about enrolling, just go for it. You will not be disappointed. 100% worth the investment. And again, I would just to reinforce, if you are thinking about signing up, just go for it. Sean has been absolute awesome, top-notch trainer, teacher, and yeah, absolutely, just amazing. I mean, Sean's so friendly and with a good sense of humour as well thrown in there, which is always good. So down to earth and great support. Clicks and Clients is the best ads course that's out there at the moment. It's been excellent value, excellent training, and again, you won't be disappointed.
Kind words from Angela, although sense of humour is not guaranteed. Been fortunate to get a lot of other positive feedback, not just on these sessions that people have attended, but on the programme that we run called Clicks and Clients. I think that we need to just sort of power through here because, as I said, we've got so much to cover. What we're going to be covering, just to give you a very brief sort of run through here, the first section is going to be the truth about Facebook ads. I really have to try hard not to say this is the most important bit of the training or this is the most significant part. I want to say it about this section, but I'm going to end up saying it about the others too. But genuinely, I know better than anyone just how much misinformation and misunderstanding there is about Facebook ads online. Whether you've had a try at them before yourself or not, there's a lot of false ideas. And unfortunately, there's a lot of entities, agencies, freelancers, coaches, etc. out there that benefit from these misunderstandings. So let's rip through these now. Each and every one of these, by the way, this isn't just my opinion based off of my experience. I appreciate that would be worth something, but each of these is data-backed, factual. Just really want to be clear and straight down the front with you. So let's get stuck into this. So the first misconception, and I hear this quite a lot, is that Facebook ads are dead. They don't work anymore. They've had their heyday. And this just simply isn't true, to speak plainly, and there are numbers to back this up. I think this is something that's perpetuated by a lot of sort of agencies and gurus to try and get you onto the next sort of shiny thing, whether that be TikTok ads or AI-powered YouTube ads or whatever the current trend is. There's always a flavour of the month in marketing, but what's always served me really well and what I've always seen to deliver really good outcomes for people is just focusing on the core fundamentals of marketing, lead generation, client acquisition, and utilising tools like this to leverage that knowledge, to leverage those skills. And this, as a tool, Facebook ads, is far, far from dead. I mean, just looking at the usage numbers on Facebook, and this genuinely blows my mind. This is a little bit dated now, but you have to have a little bit of dating for the numbers to be accurate. You can see that even with the size that Facebook is, it has nearly 3 billion monthly active users, which isn't far off being half the planet, and that doesn't include Instagram as well. It's still growing, only by small amounts, 0.5%, 1%, 2% here and there, 0.2%. But when you're in the billions range, those little percentage points make a hell of a difference. And the bottom line is this is still a very much growing platform, very much an active platform. Your target audience are here. Another common sort of misconception with this, oh, it's dead, the kids aren't using it. I mean, the kids don't have any bloody money anyway, not that it matters, but the point's valid. If the younger generations weren't, oh God, I'm not the younger generation anymore. If the younger generations weren't using Facebook, that could be cause for concern. But that's not what the data says. Between the ages of 18 to 34, as you can see here, they actually make up the largest segment of users on the platform. These are active users, which bodes well for the future, because whether your target audience is 25-year-old women or whether it's 60-year-old men, they're there right now in their millions, and that market is growing regardless of what your demographic is. So anyone that tells you that Facebook ads are dead, realistically, they're probably telling you that based on their own experience that they've had, and that's just a nice convenient excuse to avoid responsibility and accountability, to speak plainly, or they've been misled by someone that's trying to sell them something. So yeah, the platform is alive and well, as we can see. The second misconception is that Facebook ads are complicated. And again, I think this is really convenient because there's so many agencies out there these days. This isn't a regulated space. It's not like hiring a solicitor or hiring a plumber where they've got to go through a particular process of qualification, get certain badges and what have you. Anyone can put their hand up in the air and claim to be an expert at Facebook ads and Google ads and make out that they're super complicated, super time consuming, and that's why you've got to pay me £5 a month to do it. But it's all nonsense. I think you have to consider this from Facebook's point of view. It's one of the wealthiest companies on the planet. They heavily benefit from people buying ads. Why would they make it really difficult to use? Why would they make it so that all of those people have to rely on third parties to use it? That wouldn't make any sense at all. It's far more beneficial for them if their tool is user-friendly, beginner-friendly, and this is the approach they've gone in, particularly since they've become a publicly traded company. Facebook ads simply do not require a rocket scientist to understand and action them effectively anymore. In fairness, 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, yeah, they were quite fiddly, they were new, people were like, what the hell is this? And there was a lot that wasn't understood about them. Those days are long gone. The tool is really easy to use now, so for anyone out there that's telling you that this is a complicated tool that requires a really expensive expert is misinformed or disingenuous. Misconception number three is that targeting is the most important part. And this is one of the first points of this whole presentation where you're going to think, is this guy mad or is he a genius? Hopefully the latter. And the truth is, when it comes to targeting on Facebook and Instagram, when you're running campaigns here, it's not what you think it is. In the past, it was very much about having really narrow, controlled audiences, targeting people based off of what age they were, what gender they were, what TV shows they liked, what their net worth was, what was left on their mortgage, how many kids they had, what colour their nose hair was, just crazy levels of invasiveness and how specific it was. But thankfully, and I think this is ultimately good for humanity, those sorts of tools don't really exist anymore the way that they used to. You can still get quite nitty gritty with your targeting if you want to, but it just doesn't work as well as it used to. Because the way that Facebook's policies have changed over time, they can't sell that sort of information to marketers like myself how they used to. So for example, with one of the interest segments, let's just say vegans as an example, it's not going to have every single vegan in the platform in that interest group. So if you're trying to run an ad for vegans and you're picking that interest segment and saying, I want to just run ads to vegans, you're really limiting the number of ads that you can serve. There could be millions of people on the platform that aren't in that little audience that you've built who could actually be a really good client for you. The truth is there's only three things that you need for your targeting. The algorithm will do the rest of the heavy lifting. And that's the location, so what country they're in, for example. Demographics, so age and gender, typically is a good one to go with if you know for certain that your best clients are women over 30 or whatever it might be. If you don't know that, leave this open, find out. You have to let the market tell you who likes you, who resonates with you and your brand and your offer, who needs help. You don't want to be too assumptive about these things. And then lastly, placement, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or both. And that's it. Something to write down, you're going to hear me say this a lot, but if there is one thing you take away from today, it's the sentence, let your ad do the targeting. It's not something you're going to hear a lot of people say, because people that are experts, such as myself, many of them prefer to portray the idea that they're in the trenches, fiddling with things, pulling levers, and it's all clever and complicated. The truth is, it just isn't. The way it works these days is you do your targeting with your ad. So you don't just create, a generic ad and then serve that to a really specific audience. Instead, you create a really specific ad and serve that to everybody. And the algorithm can see who's reacting well to this, who isn't. And over time, it will focus in on the people that are responding best to it. That's what gets you the best results. It's the cheaper way to do things as well. When you're running to these really tight audiences, you're competing to everyone else that's running to those really tight audiences. So let your ad do the targeting. This is something that we're going to touch upon a bit more later on. A really, really important point. The next misconception is that Facebook ads are expensive. And again, I'm not entirely sure where this comes from. I think, again, it's partly because of all the bloody agencies and stuff out there that are like, you need to spend £3,000 a month on this, and our fees are tied to how much you spend. So, yes, spend as much as possible. Really, really expensive. And it's all just nonsense. And quite frankly, ill-advised, particularly for new businesses. Sorry, I'm just going to flip my phone over because it's flashing away over there. Particularly for new businesses, startups, solopreneurs, you don't want to just be blowing tons of money on data. Don't get me wrong, if you've got tons of cash, by all means you can do that. The main thing that your ad spend will impact in the initial days is speed. How quickly you get traffic, how quickly you get leads. You don't need to go in at 100 miles an hour, particularly when you're just launching, your first campaigns, your first ads. I would generally advise that you start your campaign, if you can, at something like $10 a day or £10 a day. But if 5 is more palatable, more comfortable, it's totally fine. I promise you, you're going to see tons of examples of this as well, of loads of campaigns we've got that are generating leads for £1 a lead, £2, £3. You don't need to be spending crazy money on Facebook ads, and run away from anyone that tells you otherwise. This is a really good example, actually, of this. A client of mine that has a little menswear shop down in Brighton. For any of you down in that area, you might have seen their ads, or you might know them. Really great people in there. They've always had, really, with the greatest respect to them, really small budgets with their campaigns, like £300 a month. We're not spending crazy amounts of money, but the impact that the ads have had on their business has been enormous. Just floods of people coming through the door saying, I found you on Google, I found you on Facebook, whatever platform it may be. And they've done that with very modest budgets. There's an email here if you've had the time to read it. You can pause on the replay, because we've got lots to get through. And misconception number 5 is that Facebook ads are time consuming. And again, this really is just another justification for high fees and to sort of put you off doing it yourself. There's not much more to say about it than that, because honestly, once your campaigns are set up, especially if you've set them up well, you're not really spending much time on them after that, especially if they're working. So if they're working, you don't touch them. You just go in every sort of few days, you'll go in and look and say, is that all okay? Yeah, cool, all good. If you set something up, launch it, and after a couple of weeks it's not working, and you just look at the data and say, right, well, where is the problem here? Where's the missing piece? You make an adjustment, and that's that. But even with that said, launching campaigns, once you know how to do it, can take 10, 20 minutes tops. When you're doing it for the first time, you're not spending an hour doing this. We're going to run through this in a minute, you'll see. This, again, is just something that's spread to give the idea that the people you pay to do this stuff are getting up to all kinds of witchcraft and wizardry in the ad account to do the work, and they're just not, which is why many of them have so many clients. So, those are the 5 biggest misconceptions that I'm hoping will help set the scene, change your perception a little bit of Facebook ads, particularly for the next section of the training. These misconceptions that we've covered are that Facebook ads are dead. We've seen the stats, they're definitely not. Facebook ads are complicated. Again, you're going to see live in a moment that that's absolutely not the case. That the targeting is the most important part, that you've got to get really clever with that. Again, absolutely not. I'm going to evidence this very heavily in a moment. The Facebook ads are expensive. Again, I'm getting a bit repetitive here. I'm going to be evidencing all of this in a moment. These are really important things to internalize and understand. Don't let other people's experiences of this platform or what they've heard about this platform control what you do with your business. You have to take ownership of your views on these things, your business, your life, your experiences. And I'm not going to encourage you to do anything you can't stress test or have a trial with yourself, so to speak, or doing anything crazy. So, moving into the second section, which is where I'm going to show you that you can build a campaign in under 25 minutes and spend 20 minutes once a week making changes if needed. I'm about to show you how, thanks slides, The instant clients technique. And this is a little known Facebook technique that generates high quality inquiries almost instantly. And what's great about this is you don't need a funnel, a landing page, you don't need any experience, frankly, but you don't need to set up any complicated tracking, Facebook pixel, nothing like that at all. And the way that we do this is with a tool called Facebook Instant Forms. I'd be really interested to know how many of you may or may not have heard of these before, because years ago, and I am talking 4, maybe 5 years ago plus now, these had a bit of a notorious reputation for being a bit pants, frankly. And I don't want to get too far off on a tangent here. I'll give you a really detailed history lesson, but the basics of this is that they used to be really bad. There wasn't really much of a need for them until Apple made a load of changes with iOS 14, which, without boring you with all the details, just changed the way that companies like Facebook could track you. Basically just gave you a lot more privacy, a lot more rights, a lot more control over your data. All very good, positive things. Made things much harder for marketers, but they are fundamentally good things. So what used to be the way to go was to send people off to a landing page. They'd go off, click stuff, fill out forms. Facebook could track it all, and it would all get fed back into the machine and improve and grow and wonderful. When Apple made these changes, that will become a lot harder. In fact, Facebook only tracks about 50% of Apple users using the platform, which is quite significant. I mean, it's like half of them, especially when you consider there's more Apple users than Android users in most developed countries. Anyway, I'm tangenting again. The reason I'm telling you this is that Facebook needed a solution, so they've worked so hard to make Facebook Instant Forms really effective and really powerful, because what's great about these is when someone clicks an app that has one of these on, it just pops up natively in the platform. They don't get sent off to another website, they don't get sent off to another app, nothing like that at all. It pops up, as you can see in the example here, little image, little boxes to fill out, a couple of questions to answer, and that's it. They're quick, they're easy, but what Meta, or Facebook, loves about them is people don't have to leave the platform to fill these out. So they've worked on making these really, really effective. And this is something that I do with probably 80% of my clients now. You don't need to set up a landing page, a complex funnel, a pixel, nothing like that at all. You can, if you want to. Obviously, you can run these ads to landing pages, but you don't need to. You just simply select leads when you're creating a new campaign, set your targeting to broad, and then create your ads in the ad set and launch them. We're going to go over this in more detail. So the forms are so simple, but so good. You can see in this example here, just on this particular ad, which is for psychic readings, we've spent £510 and got 463 leads back, an average cost per lead of £1.10. Yeah, see, I still find that mind-blowing, frankly. In this day and age, to be able to acquire leads at that sort of cost is unheard of. And this isn't something that just works with psychics. It works with pretty much everything I've tried to make it work with, from solar panels, coaching, nutrition, even jobs like becoming a courier driver. And I'm sorry, I've jumped onto the wrong slide already. I want to show you another quick video, a bit of feedback from another student. Just listen to the impact that these campaigns have had.
When you've got courses on Kajabi and these kind of platforms, you don't really have someone that you can talk to. The fact that I didn't have to wait. I thought it was going to be a problem having to wait. We've got the Loom thing. That was invaluable, really. That's what has been the best thing. The fact that we could do that, that's like one-to-one support, you know, it gets your problem solved like that, and you can just move ahead and keep moving ahead and keep moving ahead. So that's what's been the best thing about the program. I'm earning more than I'm spending on the ads. So I'm in profit. I'm getting clients. I'm learning a lot about the sales process. I'm learning a lot about Facebook ads. Yeah, and I've cut out me doing all the organic work. because everything's going into the Facebook ad. That's where I'm getting the clients from, not from the organic. It's just opened everything up. I'm like, oh my God, because I've tried Facebook ads before and never had a good result from it. So this is like, wow, I really can do this, you know. I don't have to keep writing content and sharing my whole life and everything on social media. I can just do the ads now, you know. You have to make a decision, got to take that risk, and you've got to invest in things. Otherwise, things just stay the same. Nothing changes if nothing changes. You know, you've got to take risks. You've got to investing in yourself and your own business is the best investment you can ever make. So I don't hesitate. Honestly, it's changed my life because I'm quitting my job and everything now.
Positive stuff from Vicky, and I'm absolutely chuffed to bits for her. Won't share any of her numbers, it's not my place to do so, but she is making cake, that's all I will say. And she certainly, with the greatest respect, wasn't when she first started trying to do this stuff. But she's just applied this, and it's been brilliant for her. Now, prepare yourself, because what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the actual ad account that we use to generate thousands of clients, thousands of leads on a monthly basis. We've been doing this in this account for a good couple of years now. And there's some other stuff I'm going to share with you in this section that's really, really valuable. So let's get into it, and please do take notes. So what we have here is what an ad account would look like when you create it for the first time, if you're totally new to this. Excuse me. So there's no campaigns here, no data, nothing like that. So when it comes to creating your first campaign, all you need to do is either click that create ad button or the green create button on the left. I imagine for some of you, if this is the first time you've seen what the inside of an ad account looks like, it might look a bit complicated because there's all sorts of buttons and stuff all over the place. And what's really cool is they like to change the layout of all this every couple of years, but don't get me started ranting on that. But the fact of the matter is, you'll only ever use like 9 buttons in here at most, so you can ignore most of what you see. Just focus on what I'm covering with you here, and if you can take notes on this, you can literally go and action this later today and have a campaign running before your dinner's ready, if we can finish on time. So once you've clicked that button, it's going to take you to this window where it basically asks you what your objective is. Really important step. Meta, I use Meta and Facebook interchangeably, has got really, really good, to speak plainly. Their algorithm is incredible now, super intelligent. It's had God knows how much money and data go through it now for quite a number of years. So it's very good at delivering what you ask it to. So for example, if you ask for traffic, if you ask for clicks, that's kind of what you'll get. And some of you may have experienced this in the past with like boosting posts or things like that, or running little traffic campaigns, is that you get a load of clicks, you get a load of traffic, but it doesn't really convert, doesn't do anything. And in a way, you can't really fault Meta for that, because you've asked for traffic and that's what you've got. So when you want sales, when you want leads, when you want downloads or whatever, when you want people to take a specific action, that's what you've got to ask for. That's what you need to ask the platform for. So when you're creating a new campaign and you want leads, make sure you select leads, and that's the area where we can access the instant forms. And when you're doing this, again, I wish this stuff was here 6-7 years ago. You need to make sure that you have these recommended settings on. What this is going to do is pretty much automate the entire build of the campaign, or certainly most of it, in terms of the targeting, the placements. So it will automatically show your ad on the Facebook feed, Instagram feed, stories, all of that stuff based on what's performing best. You've got to hand the reins over to the machines with this stuff. Trust me, anyone out there that's trying to say that they know better than Meta or better than the algorithm is kidding themselves or lying. The algorithm is amazing, frankly, and I know that sounds a bit like, oh, our algorithm overlord, but it is just genuinely an amazing tool. Let it do its work. You focus on creating a great business, great offer, great ads, and the tool does all the other stuff for you. So go in the recommended settings, don't go in there and waste a load of time piddling around with other stuff. What I want to show you now, quickly, before we get into more how-to, is just some examples of what we've done in this account. And obviously I've said things like, keep your targeting simple and things like that. So just going to demonstrate here that we practice what we preach when it comes to this stuff. So first and foremost, here's just some good old-fashioned plain numbers for lots of different campaigns. This is for therapy, psychic readings, tarot readings, energy healing, life coaching, wellness, mindfulness, lots of stuff, okay, nutrition. We've spent, at the time of these screenshots, about 58k in dollars, that's, 80,000-ish. Thousands and thousands of leads. I'm not going to try and add that up. And as you can see, the cost per lead on these campaigns is super healthy. Sometimes it's as low as 86p. There's lots here that are in the sort of £1 to £2 range. Even the really high ones in here that are at sort of like 7, that looks high in the context of the others, but there aren't many businesses out there that won't be really bloody happy with a £7 cost per lead. Let's say you've got, let's make the numbers simple. Let's say it costs you £10 to get a lead, and over the course of a week you get 10 of them. You've spent £100, you've got 10 leads back for £10 each. You've spent 100. Now, out of those 10 leads, you only convert one of them. Let's say they're really rubbish. If your service, your fee or whatever is £100, you've broken even with really bad numbers. So you can imagine how powerful this can be and how effective it can be when you've got healthier numbers. Let's say your cost per lead is instead 5, and instead you convert 2 of them, and instead you've built up the confidence and belief in your business to charge more like £300 or £500, depending on what you do. You can then see how this can get really, really exciting. And this is why I personally believe that, other than sales, which I know is a very dirty word, but it is genuinely an amazing skill that every business owner has to learn, even if it's just basic communication with your clients and with your prospects. Second to that, or level with it, whatever, is the ability to do stuff like this these days. I think if you can learn how to generate inquiries for yourself, whether you're doing it for yourself or other people, it's just one of those skills where in this day and age you'll never go hungry. In 20 years time maybe the tools will be different, but this really is a very, very valuable skill, and this is a really great way of doing it. Just looking on the inside here, this is showing the targeting settings, so who we're serving these ads to. So the campaign is for therapy in the USA. The ad group, that's the area where you would select your targeting and all those sorts of settings. And you can see here that we are targeting the United States, people over the age of 21, both genders. And when we get to the detailed targeting, which is where a lot of people would have, really likes basketball and Tony Robbins and God knows what else, we don't have any of that. We leave it totally blank, all languages as well. We let the machines do the work. We do our targeting with our ads. You'll see that in a moment, and that's the way that you guys need to do this too, and it will make a hell of a difference to your results. We have 6 ads in the ad group. I get asked this a lot, so what's the perfect number of ads to have in an ad group? I don't think there is one. Generally speaking, I would say you probably want to have at least 4 different ads, give the algorithm a little bit of variety to work with. But I've launched loads of campaigns that also have 6, 8, 12. There is no sort of cut and shut best number. But what I would say is you probably want to have at least 4. And you don't want to just launch with 1. Unless that one ad is already proven to be absolute blockbuster and has got you tons of great results, don't launch with just 1 ad, especially brand new, because you won't learn enough. You won't know what does work, doesn't work if you're just running with the one thing. Another quick example here, this one's for therapy, but in Canada. So you can see the only thing that's changed with the targeting is, we're targeting Canada rather than the USA. Just showing this to really illustrate the point that you do not need to have crazy, complex targeting strategies. You just need to have good ads and to use the right tools. So again, no interests, no behaviours, nothing like that at all. Life Coaching UK, you're seeing it again. The only difference here this time is that we know from experience that women in the UK respond to these ads better than men, so we're just targeting women. And again, that's something that you guys can come to learn with your own ads with time. Now, the next part of this build, and what you need to know, is that when it comes to how you structure these ads, so I said a minute ago that you want 6 different ones. The only thing that's different with the ads is the image that you're using, or the video that you're using, or what is more loosely known as creative. So the text, which we'll go into more detail on in a moment, this will be the same on all of the ads. So each ad has the same 4 or 5 different versions of ad copy. So what you'll do when you create this campaign is you'll go in, click create, select instant forms, select all the recommended settings. It will then bring you into this area, which will be blank, which is where you have to add your copy, add your images and stuff. So you'll just make the one ad with your copy, with your image, job done. And you can just duplicate that ad 5 times. And all you have to change on it is the image. I've been building campaigns like that for years. It makes it much quicker, much easier. The duplicate button is going to be your best friend in Ads Manager. It's very much my best friend. If I wasn't married to my wife, I would be married to the duplicate button. Moving on, this is the section where you will add your images or change it. So if there's already an image in place, you'll simply just click that delete button and add in a new one, or you can click edit and change it that way. Either way, it doesn't really matter, but it's the media section is where you'll add your images. Just showing an example here of one of these ads that we've run. So this is kind of like what the finished product looks like. It simply says, reveal the answers to your big questions, connect with a professional psychic or medium today. So we're doing our targeting with our ad here. We're making it really clear what this is about. Where a lot of beginners go wrong, or not even just beginners, where a lot of marketers go wrong, is their ads can be a little bit too vague, they're trying too hard to be sort of mysterious at times, or they're asking a bit too much of the user. What you've got to bear in mind with people that are seeing these ads, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on Instagram, is these people are just scrolling through and they're seeing literally like a dozen things every, 30 seconds. There's a lot of content that people are scrolling through and whizzing through. And when they're doing that, they could have a TV show on in the background. Their kids could be asking what's for dinner. They could be getting out of a taxi, on the toilet, off the toilet, obviously the toilet. It could be anything, right? It could be getting out of a taxi. You need to factor that in when you're creating your ads and doing your targeting with your ad. So you need to make it clear as quickly as possible what this is about and who it's for. That gives you the best possible chance of capturing someone's attention, capturing the right person's attention. And that's then what allows the algorithm to say, oh, okay, so the people that aren't responding well to this ad all seem to be people that are like accountants and solicitors and men over the age of 40 or whatever. However, who does seem to be responding really well to it are women in the public sector under the age of 30. Totally random examples, but you get the idea, and the algorithm will automatically respond to that. Sorry, I just had a strange pop-up there. Will automatically respond to that and serve your ads to the relevant people. Now, the most important part of this process, of course, is the instant form itself. You can see here we've got tons of these. So I just want to give you a very quick run through how to create them, because again, you might have this idea in your mind of, oh, how the hell do I create that? It looks complicated. Oh, golly, they are not. You can make these in a few minutes. You can be as creative and intensive with these as you want to, or you can be lazy with them like I am. So a lot of the time, we'll just use the image from our ad as the background for the form. What can work really well is using your own image and like custom creating an image with perhaps like your logo. If you've got like a load of positive reviews on Google or Trustpilot or something like that, you can have that across the top of the banner. So you've got freedom to do what you like with this. But we found that just using the image from your ad works really well too. And I think the reason for that is just consistency. Something that people don't talk about a lot that's really important when it comes to online marketing and online lead generation, and make a note of this, is expectations. Meeting people's expectations, or as getting close to them as possible. Where people go really wrong with their marketing is they'll have an ad that looks a certain way, talks a certain way, or a content piece, a post, whatever it is, someone clicks it, they have a bit of an expectation of what they're going to see in the next area, and that expectation isn't met. And if that expectation isn't met, that person's gone, and it's very hard to get them back. That's why I feel that using the images from your ad just helps to remove that risk a little bit, because people tap it, the form pops up, but they know that that's what's meant to happen, that they're in the right place, and the right thing has happened, basically. And you can see, I've written on the left here, just follow the steps, which is exactly what you want to do. It literally will walk you through this process A to Z. You'll put your headline, a little bit of copy, everything that you could need for the form to be effective. You can use, what's the word I'm looking for here? They can either enter in the details themselves, or you can use these settings. You see where it has the little greyed out part on the right, where it says user information on the first one, contact fields on the second. These are autofill fields. What that basically means is that when someone sees this ad, they click it, it opens up the form, they say, yeah, I want to do that, I want to fill that out. The questions come up, their full name, email and phone number, and it's already in there based on what their account data is, which this obviously you can't do that on a website or a landing page or elsewhere, so this is super powerful. One of the downsides of this is some people aren't using the right email for Facebook or the right phone number or whatever, but most people do, particularly when it comes to phone number. So this is a really, really powerful tool as well, and a good little trick to use, because it just makes it so quick, easy and effortless for people to fill out. It's a few taps and bang, they've submitted their information and they've requested your report, your video, or scheduled a call with you, whatever it is. It just makes the process quicker and easier for the user. I seem to have a duplicate of that there. So how do we create the ad images? That's something that some of you are probably wondering. You might have come to this conclusion about me already, but I'm not particularly good when it comes to making imagery. I've made countless effective ads over the years for a variety of different brands. Some of them have had 6 figures go through them, some have had 7, but I don't know how to use Photoshop, plainly. But what I do know how to use, what is really easy to use, is Canva. I would suspect a lot of you are using this already. You are already probably having a beloved experience with Canva. It's one of the fastest growing companies in America. And that's basically just because of how accessible it is, and how much effort they've put into just making a brilliant tool that's not just easy to use, but has tons of templates, and it is just built for doing marketing online. Lots of other stuff that you can do with it too. I frankly don't use it to its full potential. I almost exclusively use it to make ad images. They've even got AI tools and stuff on there now where you can just say, like, I want an image of a man riding a dog or whatever, and it will do it for you. It's incredible. So just to give you a quick example of this, you can go into Canva, and it's free. I don't know if I failed to mention that. This tool doesn't cost anything, which is mind-blowing to me. Has loads of different paid features and versions. I've never used any of them. I've never paid a penny to Canva, which makes me feel a bit bad, actually, because I've used it a lot and I recommend it a lot, but I've got the free version. I'm sure if you're a bit more of a professional graphic designer type, having the paid version, I'm not disputing that, it's a brilliant tool, but I've only ever used the free version, and they have templates for Facebook ads, Instagram posts, stories, with all the correct dimensions and ratios that you could need. So just overall an incredible tool that's really easy to use as well. You just simply come in here. The only areas you need to concern yourself with, and well, the only areas I concern myself with, are the design, which is picking like the layout on the sides of things, uploads, so you can upload like pictures of yourself or pictures you've got from like stock imagery or like an AI tool or whatever, and text so that you can write on stuff. But most of the time I'm just using an existing template, and you just upload your own images into that if you need to, change the text, drag things around, put your own logo in. It's dead simple. But what about the ad copy? Copywriting, I would expect for many people, and well, it's been my experience that for most people, the idea of copywriting is quite terrifying. And when I got started, I was the opposite. When I first started copywriting, and this is back when I was like 16 now, I thought I was brilliant at it for quite a number of years, despite the fact that I couldn't quite get anything to work with what I was doing. But I was the opposite to a lot of people. I thought, I'm good at copywriting. I like writing copy, and I had no concerns, no fears. Turned out I was rubbish at it. Once I realised that, obviously it became a little bit more daunting, and I had to figure out ways to make it easier for me. Without diversing too much, ad copy is super important. The words that you use are super important. It's very easy to sound like a marketer or sound like a salesperson when you're writing copy. There's lots of sort of tropes and cliches that are easy to fall into. But wait, there's more. And if you love this, you'll love blah blah or whatever. Or you get the idea. That these very common sort of little what's the word I'm looking for? Phrases, I guess, that people use. You have to avoid that stuff. You just write as if you're talking to your ideal prospect. It has to be very personal, because one of the main differences between good copy and weak copy is that weak copy reads like it's been written for a lot of people. Good copy reads like it's been written for you. And that is what a really good ad does. What you're really trying to achieve, and write this down, is you're trying to make someone think, this is for me. You know, it's a very personal experience. That we're talking about other human beings here. And I know there's lots of numbers involved and tools and all this stuff, but the bottom line is you are dealing with other people. And obviously that becomes really clear once they're on the phone, but you have to bear this in mind when you're writing your copy too. You know, write it as if you're, in a way, almost writing a letter to them. There are obviously lots of best practices and stuff, and a couple of little tricks which we'll cover in a second. But what we do to write copy now, and have done for quite a long time now, what we use to write all the copy for the ads in that Emilio ad account we shared you, is we use ChatGPT, which isn't really a secret anymore. You must, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some of you that haven't tried it or used it yet, maybe even not heard of it, but what it basically is an AI tool. It's a large language model that can write pretty much anything within reason. I'm going to show you some examples in a moment. It's free. I mean, they have paid versions, but there's not really any reason to use them unless you're running like a huge operation. I do have the paid version of ChatGPT just because of how brilliant it is. I think it's like £20 a month, but again, you don't need it. Excuse me. It's a tool that gets better the more you use it, the more it learns about it, and frankly, yeah, everyone I know in the marketing space is using AI tools now, regardless of whether they're sort of in the older crowd or whether they're, younger and new. Everyone is using AI tools. So without trying to be that guy that's like all scaremongery or hypey or whatever, you do need to be using this stuff now to compete and stay ahead of people. Not with everything that you do, because you don't just want to make your whole business a robot, because especially with the sort of stuff you guys do, it's very, very human, very genuine, and needs to be. But when it comes to things like writing ad copy or writing copy for your landing page, leaning on ChatGPT can make all the difference, not just in the quality of your output, but how much time you can save. How much time you can save. So this is what I asked to provide you guys with an example. The prompt I've given ChatGPT. I need to write 4 versions of ad copy for my business that I'm running Facebook ads for. I help people break through limiting beliefs so they can reach their goals. I would like the copy to be short but punchy, emotive, and focused on them claiming a free taster session with me. Now, all I've really given here is I help people break through limiting beliefs so they can reach their goals, which, and no disrespect to any of you that do this, but is relatively vague. It's not as niche as something could be. Like, for example, I help married men give up alcohol or whatever. That's a little bit more niche. But for this example, I kept it broad intentionally. And this is what it spat back. I won't read the whole thing. But the first one is its headline is Unleash Your Potential with a Free Taster Session. Tired of being held back by self-doubt and limiting beliefs? It's time to break free. Claim your free taster session and start achieving your goals today. Don't let anything stand in your way. Click now to transform your life. Now, I would say that is, in the words of Luna Lovegood, exceptionally average. But considering it's done almost instantly, it's not a bad outcome, but it's a good starting place. So from there, you can give it more prompts and, you know, squeeze extra value out of it. So I've said, please make a little longer, brilliant English, and a bit more emotive. I want to really relate to their struggles. Headline's still the same, but now we've got, are you tired of feeling stuck, held back by self-doubt and limiting beliefs? Imagine a life where you break free from these chains and achieve your goals with confidence. Our free taster session is your first step towards a brighter, more successful future. Don't let fear and doubt stand in your way any longer. Click now to start transforming your life and unlock your true potential. I mean, it's a lot better. I wouldn't say, you know, good golly, business me. That's the best copy I've ever read. But it's good, considering a robot spat it out almost instantly. So what can we do to make it better? And there is a little trick that I would like to offer you, and that is the PAS framework. PAS, please write this down. That's not what it stands for. PAS, framework for writing ads. And you can use this for writing copy for emails, landing pages. I've been leaning on the PAS framework so heavily for nearly 10 years now, I think. This isn't my framework, to be clear. This is something that's been around since like the 50s. I believe it's considered to be an idea from Ogilvy, who's like a legendary advertiser. There's an agency named after him that's quite substantial. Anyway, sidetracked. The PAS framework's really good because what it does is focus on emotion whilst also offering a clear call to action, CTA, a term you've probably come across before. Call to action is really important because it's all well and good having the best ad and really sort of connecting with someone, them feeling heard and understood, and then, you know, nothing sort of happening or it not being clear where they're supposed to go or what happens next. You've got to have a clear CTA. So the way the PAS framework functions is that you start with the problem, and the goal of that is to attract the reader's attention by raising a problem they're suffering with. Agitate, which is where you dig into the problem and show displayed understanding by talking about it in detail, how it feels, and this sort of raises their emotion, makes them feel heard, understood, because you do understand them. You know, these are your clients, the people that you are trained to help, the people that you want to help. So this is the best way to demonstrate that. And then solution, you position your offer as the solution to their problem. So when we give this to ChatGPT, which again is just great that ChatGPT knows what the PAS framework is, I just simply said, this time I'd like you to write the ads using the PAS framework. And bear in mind, I gave it a really generic prompt to start with. Like you can put more time and effort into this to obviously give it a much clearer prompt in terms of the sort of tone of the language, who you're talking to, that sort of thing. Let's give a quick read of this now. So now the copy says, feeling stuck and held back by self-doubt, do you often find yourself paralysed by fear and negative thoughts? These limiting beliefs can be crippling, stopping you from achieving your goals and living the life you deserve. Every day feels like an uphill battle and it's exhausting. Imagine how different your life could be if you could overcome these barriers. Our free taster session is designed to help you break free from these mental chains, experience a transformative journey that will empower you to reach your full potential. Click now to claim your free taster session and start your path to a brighter future. Now, I don't need to say there's obviously substantially better than what we've had on the first couple of attempts. And again, this isn't something that we put tons of effort into, so I'm hoping that you're seeing the potential of this, and this is giving you a bit of a clearer picture on how powerful this can be if you've not found much value from it yet. I've spoken with a lot of people that know ChatGPT is a thing, and they've had a play with it, but they just don't really see how it can be useful for them. When you're running ads or coming up with ideas for ads, ad concepts, anything like that, you just go and ask ChatGPT and just keep prodding it until it gives you what you want, because it really is an amazing tool. So what we've covered there is the instant forms technique, which is something that an alarmingly large amount of people aren't doing, but that we've been doing with, not just with Education, but I've been doing this with a number of my clients for a good few years now. They perform brilliantly. They're very quick and easy to set up. You don't need any technical expertise, no tracking. You don't even need a website to launch these campaigns because it's all done natively in Facebook ads. So go and give them a try when appropriate. Not right now, because what we're about to cover is just as valuable, if not more valuable, and that is the Google Ads shortcuts, low-cost client inquiries. Now, what I'm going to be sharing with you here, and I just want to add a little bit of, context to this. So, Google is obviously a great company in the sense that they've achieved a great deal, and we all use it a lot. Getting leads from Google is really difficult. You've basically got two choices: either SEO, which is really difficult, to speak plainly. Well, I say really difficult. It's really time consuming and involves a fair bit of know-how. I've personally always hated SEO, to speak plainly, because it changes all the bloody time. You can work really hard over the course of a year or two to get a website really well ranked for certain keywords, and you're like, yeah, this is fantastic. And then Google rolls out a load of changes on how the algorithm works, and poof, your website is no longer showing up, your traffic's gone. So unless you are like a cold, hard, dead expert of SEO, or you've got a guy or a team for that are like just the A team, all good. That's not how it is for me. The other way that you can get leads from Google is by paying through PPC. You've no doubt heard of this before, paid search, where you can essentially pay to be the top result or in the top 3 results for any given search term. Sounds great, of course, because people that are making these search terms have a certain level of intent behind the searches that they're making, right? Which, generally speaking, makes them better leads than social, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's not a hard and fast rule, but when you look at social, you're interrupting people's day. Someone's scrolling through stuff and you're popping up and saying, hi, have you got this problem? I know a lot about this, I could probably help you. Do you want to talk to me? Obviously, not quite like that, but you get the idea. And that can work really, really well and at massive scale. Whereas on Google, it's a bit different. Someone's either on their phone or they've sat down at their desk, they've hopped onto their device, and they're actively searching, how can I fix my phobia? Or is there a phobia coach near me? How can I quit smoking? Whatever it might be, they're further down that, oh God, what's the word? Come on, brain. They're not problem aware, they're now problem focused. They already understand that there is an issue, they understand that there's options, and they've decided they want to take action. So now they're starting to research options. These people are buyers. They might not necessarily buy with you, but they are going to buy. They've decided they want to do something about their problem. And that's why Google Leads can be really, really good. The downside of Google Leads, and here we go, and you probably already know this, is that they can be a bit pricey. And that's simply because of how competitive they are and how valuable the traffic is. The cost per click can be quite high. But what I'm going to share with you today is something that totally bypasses that and totally removes that risk from the equation altogether. And it's quite a neat trick. So what I'm going to cover with you is how to set up your campaigns and targeting key search terms within a 20-kilometre radius of where your clients live and reducing competition. So rather than let's say that you serve, and we'll just stick with the alcohol quitting example, let's say that's what you do and you coach people. Theoretically, you could work with anyone in the country if you're doing it online and doing it digitally. But if you go to compete against everyone else in the country doing that on Google, it's possible, but you're going to need a bit of budget. It's going to take a bit of time, a bit of money to make some progress there. Whereas if you just do it in one state, or you do it just in one city, you're massively reducing the number of people that you're competing against. And if you're only spending £5 a day, £10 a day, that's more than enough money to be running ads to a city, just as an example. So that's how this can work really, really well. We're going to cover some other super important mistakes that beginners can make. Some of the things we're going to cover in this section are really valuable to speak plainly, and things that I wish I knew a long time ago. Just a few quick stats. There are nearly 6 million Google searches per minute. This is a very widely used tool. Top ranking Google results see a 22.5% click-through rate. Over 60% of Google searches occur on mobile in the US. Important to know. Google accounts for over 90% of the global search engine market, which is mind-blowing. They do have a monopoly there. It is what it is. 66% of web traffic referrals come from Google. For those of you that aren't quite understanding what that means, it means that 2/3 of the traffic online comes from Google before it goes to wherever the person's heading, whatever website or platform it might be. Most Google searches are 3 to 4 words long. Featured snippets appear to, that's not important for you guys, sorry. 46% of Google searches have local intent. Aha. That can be really helpful for what we're going to do, because we are going to run local campaigns. And if half of the search terms have local intent, guess who benefits from that? We do. Some other key stats: 63% of people have clicked on a Google ad. I wanted to share this with you because I'm a bit different now. Now I will click Google ads. I don't know why, I just want to save time, I guess, and I have a bit more respect for the craft. But years ago, I was definitely one of those people that was like, well, I'm not clicking the top results because they're ads, so sod those people. Most people aren't like that. Most people will just click whatever sounds like the nearest thing to what they're looking for, which is good to know. So any sort of limiting beliefs you have about people not clicking the ads, forget about it. Because not only have most people clicked an ad, but 33% of mobile ad spending goes to Google, like 1/3 of the global market. But even more impressively, Google's ad revenue in the US was $224 billion in 2022. That's a lot of people clicking ads. People are paying for this, so it works. It is the biggest ad platform in the world. So if you can carve out your slice of it for your business, you put yourself in very good stead. Oh, what's coming now? I've spent millions on the Google platform. Intent-based leads can be really strong because someone is actively looking for what you offer. There we go. Thank you very much, slides. Okay, so welcome to my secret hack, which is what I call the radius approach. So follow this carefully, similar to the last one. This is a little bit more, it's a lot more step-by-step. So take notes as we're going. From memory, there's at least 3, if not 4, golden rules, for lack of better words, like imperative things you need to know for your campaign to work properly, that you would probably do the opposite to if I wasn't to tell you, which I know sounds complex. It will make sense when we get there. Just a little bit of credibility here. Not only have I spent an obscene amount of money on this platform over the years, and I currently do, my largest client at the moment is on Google. We spend hundreds of thousands of pounds a month. Earlier this year, I was at Google's offices in London, was invited to talk about broad match, ad measurement, some other really boring stuff, I guess. So I know this stuff very, very well, and even Google thinks so. So you're in safe hands. So when you go into your ad account for the first time, similar to Meta, similar to Facebook, it's going to be blank. There's not going to be any campaigns here. You just simply want to look for that create button. Just before we move on, I just want to show you what your account sort of could look like once you've got tons of campaigns, tons of data in there. This client over the last 4 years has spent nearly £2.2 million on Google Ads, generating nearly 25,000 leads, quite expensive leads for them, but they're in a mega competitive industry. That's just the ones Google track to, nearly 500,000 clicks. But the sky really is the limit when it comes to Google Ads. That's what I'm trying to illustrate here. You're going to start out with £10 a day, perhaps. I think that's a sensible point, but you can scale this very, very aggressively. So here begins the step-by-step process of how we're going to set these campaigns up. So once you click create your campaign, the selection you want to make is leads. Now, with Google, website traffic is a usable objective. I would generally suggest that you prioritize going with leads, but if you want to just do website traffic because you don't want to set up any tracking or anything like that, it's definitely an option, but be all and end all, you're going to get better results by selecting leads. This here, the next part, is showing me the conversion event I need to set up to be able to track the leads. We simply don't have the time to go through this today, but when you do this, you'll click it and it brings up a step-by-step process for you to follow that basically involves copying and pasting a bit of code that goes on the back end of your website. Again, it's all laid out step by step, so you won't have any trouble with this. The next part of the process is selecting your campaign type, and you want to click search here. Nice and simple. You don't really need to concern yourself with the others. YouTube's obviously a great platform, but we're not talking about that today. Shopping is more for like e-commerce. So you can forget about the others. We just want to be showing up high in search results. So that's what we select. Next, it'll ask you for your link. I've just put one of my websites in here. So you would put your website, your landing page. Again, today we don't have the time to cover exactly what that needs to look like. If you have a website, this is where you'll put it. If you don't have one, get one. A quick note on this point that's really, really important is your website essentially serves as like an online hub for your business. It has lots of different jobs to do, different objectives. People can use it for different reasons. Someone comes onto your website, it doesn't matter if they're off looking at one thing 1 minute, something else the next. That's what it's there to do. But a landing page, and I'm sure you've heard this term before, that's much better when you're running ads, when you're paying for traffic, because a landing page is purpose built with a single goal in mind. It's a lot more linear and straightforward. They land at the top of the page, they go down to the bottom of the page, and they take the action. That's the goal. So when you're running Google Ads, you want to use a landing page if you can. Excuse me. Next, you want to just give it a name, whatever you see fit, doesn't matter. Then the next thing it's going to ask is how you want to bid, other options. Again, just leave them as is. We don't need to make this more complicated than it is. We just want to focus on conversions. So we'll hit next here. Campaign settings. This is the first of one of those golden rules I mentioned. You must turn these both off if I haven't made it obvious on screen. Again, it's so easy to fall into these traps when you're a beginner, or not even when you're a beginner. I've gone into so many different client accounts and they've spent loads of money on ads. They have this stuff turned on. And Google don't really do a good job of explaining what this is. They make it sound good, because having this on is good for Google. It's not good for you. It's basically additional inventory outside of Google that's not as good. Crappy websites that you don't want to be appearing on. So I won't bore you with any more than that. Turn these off. It will save you like half of your money you spend. I cannot tell you how important this is and how misunderstood these settings are. You must turn these off. You will save yourself a fortune. Moving on to the next part. And this is where we start getting into, again, another key element. We're going to do our location piece in a moment. Before we do that, at the bottom here, this is another one of Google's really cool settings that by default is on the one that you do not want. And I know it says recommended on it, but you don't. Let's read these. So let's say we're targeting Nashville as our location. Presence or interest. People regularly in, or who've shown interest in your included locations. Naturally, if you're trying to do business with people in Nashville, you don't want people coming onto you don't want to pay for traffic for people from the UK that are interested in Nashville because they might be going there on a trip, or people that are in India because they like music from Nashville or something. It's crazy that this is the default setting, but you must turn this off and switch it to presence. You only want your ads to serve to people that are in that location. You don't want it serving to people that like the location. So, moving on. This is where we get a bit clever and how we save ourselves a fortune and make these campaigns a possibility at lower levels of spend. If you've got, 50 to 100 a day, maybe even more than that, you probably need to target a country like the US or UK as a whole, by all means. If you want to start lower, steadier, and if you want to get cheaper leads, this is where we employ this. So you want to select radius. You can do 20 miles, 30, 20 kilometers. The actual distance doesn't matter. You just want to use a little bit of common sense here, depending on where you're doing it. So if you're doing it somewhere a bit more remote, so say you're targeting, I don't know, Thomaston in Connecticut in America, you probably want a bigger radius on that. But if you're targeting somewhere a little bit more dense, like Nashville, again, I'm not an expert in US geography, so I could be wrong in that. 20 miles around Nashville is going to be plenty. There's going to be a good, I would assume there's a good couple of million people there. So this is what you want to do with your initial Google campaigns to save yourself a fortune and get yourself better results faster. Moving on to the next settings, again, these are ones that you just ignore and leave alone. You obviously want to do English, unless, of course, you're not dealing in the English language, but that's self-explanatory. And then another couple of really, really important ones. Well, the first one is, anyway, broad match keywords. I'm not going to elaborate on this now because there's a slide on it in a moment. Automatically created assets. I would generally put this off. It will use its AI tools to make a load of imagery and various other things for you. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it isn't. I suggest as a beginner to not use it and just keep everything simple, keep everything straightforward. Once you've been doing this a while, you can experiment with this sort of stuff if you want. Personally, I never use it. So I'm being a little bit facetious when I say that. I don't personally see any reason to use it. And if you want. Now, broad match keywords are really important. The next slide should be about match types. Great. So this is something that Google doesn't tell you. Some of you might be aware of this, but I imagine this is going to be news to a lot of you. When you're selecting your keywords for Google Ads, you would just type them in as any normal person would. So you might type in hypnotherapist near me, hypnotherapist for phobias or whatever you do, etc. What you're unwillingly doing is setting your keywords as broad with their match type. And what that means is that any search term that includes those words, you can show up for. So if your keyword is hypnotherapist near me, you could, in theory, show up for any search term with any of those three words in. So you could show up for gym near me, cafe near me, pub near me, which you obviously wouldn't want to. Or you could show up for what is a hypnotherapist? Or how do I become a hypnotherapist? Hypnotherapist job. Endless things that are totally irrelevant, massive waste of money. Again, it's another one of those settings that benefits Google, doesn't benefit you. And they don't explain this to you. What you want to use, mostly, to begin with, is phrase matching. And this is any search term that includes those words in that order. So we use the same example, hypnotherapist near me. That means you could show up for hypnotherapist near me. You could also show up for who is the best hypnotherapist near me. Is there a hypnotherapist near me? Hypnotherapist near me that can help with blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Just not even comparable in terms of how relevant that is, right? So your ads are going to be far, far more targeted, far more relevant, far more effective if you use phrase matching. So it's just asking me if I'm still here as if I'm not nattering on. The last one is exact matching. This is kind of what it sounds like, really. And there's a reason why these little brackets are there. You have to use those little brackets for an exact match, and you have to use quote marks for phrase matching. You'll see it in a second. But exact matching is what it sounds like. So you would be bidding directly for hypnotherapist near me as a search term, and that's it. So you basically want to use a blend of phrase matching and exact matching. Hopefully that's not too much to take in off the bat. I know this is a lot, especially if you've not heard it before. But this slide, this information alone, will make more difference to your Google campaigns than anything you'll ever learn. You wouldn't believe how unaware and misunderstood this information is. So moving on to the final steps. Here we're entering our keywords, and it's automatically done these ones for me to get me started for this website, which is for a digital marketing agency. And they're all broad match, which we definitely don't want. We don't. So, for example, the top one, internet marketing services, I could show up for internet cafe, or what services are popular in Spain, just loads of irrelevant stuff. So we delete all those, or we change them to phrase matches. online marketing agency, all of them now are highly relevant. Best online marketing agency, digital marketing agency near me, something else I could show up for. Some other examples below: Fix My Phobia, How to Quit Smoking, all as phrase matches, and you can see I put crosses next to the things at the bottom because it's trying to get you to do that broad match stuff, which you just don't want to do to begin with. Broad match is only something you consider when you're spending upwards of 50k a month. You're not going to do that from the start. So for now, use phrase matching, not broad match. The next thing you'll go to is your actual ad itself. We're nearly at the end here, guys, where you're going to put your URL in for your landing page, for your website. Again, you're going to get a load of recommendations at the top. It's worth looking at them, but you don't need to pay much attention to them. They're quite unreliable. So unless there's something really obvious there, you can just ignore that. The next section is going to be your headlines. Again, it's pre-populated these for me. I would suggest that you either write these yourself, bearing in mind you've got a short character limit. The headlines are the blue text that show up at the top of the ad. Or we can use our good friend ChatGPT to do it for us. I just simply said, I need 15 headlines for a Google ad, 30 character limit for each headline that is promoting my business, insert link. I want to attract service-based businesses that need help with their lead generation. We are specialists in paid media, Meta ads, Google ads, etc. And then it spat those 15 headlines out, which frankly all look really good to me. So happy days. You would then just stick those into your ad and then move on to your descriptions. This is the grey text below. Again, this has been pre-populated for me. I would encourage you to use ChatGPT to write this for you. Not only does it make the whole process quicker, but you're probably going to get a better outcome and a better result too. And you can use the PAS framework for that. Next section is also stuff that you can just skip if you want to. Your business name, your logo, it's not strictly needed. I put the logo in there. And then next is your budget. I've set my budget to £10 a day for this campaign. That's, I think, a sensible starting point for a new campaign. You can start at 20, 30, whatever you're comfortable with, 5 if that's better. 10 is a good round number. It's estimating that I'm going to get 22 leads a week from my budget. Google's estimates don't tend to be very accurate, just to give you a quick disclaimer on that. It's estimating £3 cost per lead, which again is possible. We have people in the program achieving those sorts of numbers, but these are just estimates. And last but not least, your campaign's ready to publish. All you have to do is just turn it on and that's it. You've set your Google ad campaign up. I'm sure for many of you that was a lot easier than anticipated. I appreciate there's quite a few steps. I hope you took notes. But that is it. And this is going to allow you to launch Google campaigns that are going to be effective, that you can scale really easily just by expanding the space, increasing your budget, and that can perform really well. And I think that would be a good time to bring in Mr. Campbell. If I can unmute him successfully, let's hope so. Can you hear us, Ellie?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Wonderful. Sean, that was incredible. Some of the content you shared there, wow, just wow. So it's something to keep in mind if you're listening to Sean and thinking, just how big an impact could this make in your business or your life? Extraordinary. I was an early adopter of Facebook ads back in 2013 when they first were introduced. They actually trialled them here in Europe first out of the Lisbon office because I think they didn't want to annoy people in the United States if they didn't work very well. So they tried them in Lisbon in Europe first, and they went great. I can honestly say that my private practice, a lot of the success of it in the years up until 2020, the pandemic, was down to Facebook ads campaigns. And then if you think about it, the reason that we're all here is because of Facebook ads or Instagram ads. You'll have seen an ad for one of our courses, one of the education courses. Now, we use the same strategies that Sean is teaching to reach out to the right people. And here we all are. You've all enrolled in master classes and then academies. You have to in order to be invited here. This session is not open to the public. if I tell you that since early 2020, 65,000 times that's happened. 65,000 enrollments over the years. Now, and at break even, or more or less break even for us as well. And then, of course, the academy is where we make a profit. So very much the same strategy as what we encourage you to do, whether it's Facebook ads or Google ads. You run some ads and you can run them with a very, very small budget. Even now we test our adverts with £5 a day budget, and then when it works, you scale. Now, I've got students in the academies who, and apologies for being a little crass and talking about money, because we normally do that. But I've got students earning, 6 figures a year using the strategies that Sean, well, frankly, taught them. There's no other way of saying it. In fact, you may be we're going to hear from a few of them in just a little while as well. But what I was saying right at the very start of this session is that the opportunity here is astonishing, frankly. You can work with people anywhere in the world, typified by the fact that we are from all over the world, right here, we're in this session. You can work with anyone who speaks your language. And now you have the ability to find them and to do that thing that I said of bridging that gap, if you like, between us on one side saying, gosh, where do I get clients from? And on the other side, all the people sitting at home thinking, I wish there was somewhere to turn. And so bring those two things together and you can build a fantastic business for yourself and build security for your friends and yourself and your family and everyone frankly. I'll tell you a little story and then I'll hand you back to Sean. He'll take you through what's involved in the Clicks and Clients course. And we've got a few things just to illustrate that. I live in rural Scotland. Probably some of you know that already. We have a wood burning stove. It's right there. You're actually in my living room right now. And we have a wood burning stove right there. There's a basket of logs about 4 feet away from where I am right now. And, from time to time, I throw a log on the fire and I never give a thought. No scarcity around logs, around spending those logs, if you like, because at the back of the house, I have a log store and they're piled up. There's maybe 3 or 4 months of logs saved up there. Of course, that pile goes down over time when I burn the logs, but that's okay because, well, I'm living in the area that I'm surrounded by trees, and we live in Scotland, so it's stormy. So every year, limbs come down off the trees, and I have saw and I have an axe and I know how to use them, and so I go out and I bring in the wood and I chop it up and I pile up the logs and I let it dry, and that's the wood that we burn the next again year. There is no scarcity. It is exactly the same for you. Your skills that you're learning are your tools, your saw and your axe, and you're surrounded by trees, humans. How do you find clients? You do this, and then you talk to people. It's as simple as that. There is no scarcity in our world. And another thing just to touch on before I hand over to Sean, he'll take you through what was included, and it's an astonishingly comprehensive course, is that I've been doing this work for 21 years this year. And if you track it all the way back through time, in the years where the economy has taken a dip, and I was doing this work in 2007, 2008, the financial crisis, that was my best year to that point. The pandemic hit, that was my best year to that point. In times of turmoil and in times of economic constriction, shrinkage, we do best. People reach out, they're looking for help. Think of yourself, no matter which area you're in, which discipline you're in the painkiller business. Bottom line is you're in the painkiller business. You're helping people to feel better or find comfort or get rid of an issue that's been plaguing them. You're in the painkiller business. And so the more people are in turmoil or flux or pain, the more people are going to be looking for you. You put yourself in front of the right people, at the right time, with the right offer, you never need to worry about scarcity in your own life. Sean, would you like to take everyone through what's included in the course, and then I will wrap it up and bring us home?
Absolutely. Thank you really very much for that. That was quite eye-opening.
Just mute me
thank
again
you, everyone.
for that. Don't get mad at you.
For the best. I don't want you to abuse me in the background. Excuse me. Thank you as well to all of you guys for showing up today. Really appreciate your time, and I really hope that you've taken value from what we've covered. There's been a lot of lessons there, although I promise you it is just a slither of what is available in this program. Like personally, I'd always found that with other courses about Facebook ads, Google, getting leads, getting clients, there was always so much missing. You know, you've probably experienced this yourself. I know a lot of the other students have as well that have joined this program. What I wanted to create was something that left no stone unturned, that covered every single thing you could need, so that you not only knew what worked now, but so that you'd be equipped to grow your business permanently. I can assure you that you will not recognize yourself once you complete this program. The transformations we've seen from coaches and therapists that have gone from sort of struggling to attract the clients they want, that were low in confidence when dealing with tech, sales, online stuff, to now successful business owners that are confident and highly competent in creating their own autopilot client generation campaigns. It's amazing, and it fills me with a lot of pride, frankly. And this has been one of my favourite projects in recent years, just purely because of how significant an impact this program has had on people's lives, some of the connections I've made with some of the students, friends for life now. Anyway, let me start getting through this. There's, as usual, a lot to go through. So module 1, this is the stuff that no one else is going to take the time to teach you, frankly. This is how the platforms actually work, what an algorithm is, and what you need to know about them to use them to your advantage. Now, I remember when I was starting out, there was non-stop talk about the algorithm and all this stuff, and I was always sort of secretly thinking to myself, what even is that? Like, no one's explaining what this thing is. And one of the biggest things that sort of stops people from growing their business and growing their wealth with things like Facebook ads is that they don't understand them. You know, they think they're really techy and complicated, and as you've seen today, they're just not. And by the end of this module, I promise you'll know more about these platforms than most marketing agencies do, I swear. It's going to make a hell of a difference. And the second module, which is Facebook Fundamentals, in this section, we start to go through all of the amazing tools that you'll have at your disposal. So you'll know sort of where everything is, what you need to do, what you don't need to do. So before we even get to launching an ad, you'll know Ads Manager like the back of your hand. And what we'll also cover very, very thoroughly is ad targeting, which we touched upon today. How to get your ad in front of your ideal prospect at the right time, doing your targeting with your ad. And what we're also going to cover is the absolute magic that is retargeting campaigns. And I wish we'd had time to cover this today, because this is something that students always find really exciting. I want to give you a quick example. You must have experienced where you go and look at something online. Maybe you're looking at buying a coat, a pair of shoes, signing up to a web class, whatever it is. And for whatever reason, you don't go ahead with it. Maybe you get distracted, you decide against it. The next thing you know, everywhere you go online, that company's there. Like, they don't leave you alone. You're seeing reviews, testimonials, product demonstrations, you're getting offers from them, and you think, how the hell are they doing this? They're everywhere. And that is retargeting. And whereas, let's be honest, it can be a bit annoying, it's amazingly powerful. You know, imagine if you had a framework in place where if someone visited your website but didn't contact you or make a booking, for the following days, they were just seeing you everywhere they went, making you look like a big, proper brand. You know, what sort of impact would that have on your business? It would be pretty substantial, right? It's one of the first things I do when I go into a new client account is set up retargeting campaigns, because it's just an instant win, instant impact. Module 3, this is all about ads. I mean, what more can I say? You're going to learn what makes a good ad, what makes a bad ad, how you can quickly and easily produce ads that get the right people to stop scrolling and take action. Loads and loads of examples in this section, loads of tricks of the trade. This module alone, just on ads, makes the whole program worth the investment, in my opinion. And I say that as an experienced marketer. Moving on to module 4. Now, I mentioned that the other trainings I've done in the past have had missing pieces. And this is the main thing that they miss, in my opinion. And I actually think that this is even more important than learning how to use Facebook ads and Google ads. And this will become really clear as you get into this module, but being able to create an offer that gets people's attention, draws them to you, and makes them easier to convert is the difference between having a successful business and a failing business. And when I say offer, I'm not talking, 2 for 1 or buy one, get one free. I don't mean like that. When I say offer, I mean how you're positioning yourself, your brand, your business. How are you communicating to your prospects? It's super important. And this is how you create ads that get you paying clients and how you really stand out in the sea of content online. Super, super important. Module 5 is pulling it all together. Now, this is essentially an A to Z walkthrough of implementing everything you'd have learned up to this point. So it's literally step by step. You can't mess it up. You just copy me as we go, side by side. And that's what a lot of the existing students have done. And I can say, honestly, that I've gone above and beyond with this module. There are many, many examples here in the build along video where we do everything together, from your ads, your copy, your page, your campaign, your tracking, everything, all step by step. It was a massive undertaking, and I know it's going to be a total game changer for you. Module 6, we then essentially do it all again with Google. Now, Ali's kind of mentioned this already, but I think, in times of economic uncertainty, when so much is always changing, things are getting harder, it's more important than ever to empower yourself with knowledge and skills, which is why I cover the 2 biggest ad platforms for you in the same program. You're going to have a stream of clients from both Facebook and Instagram, but Google as well. You're diversifying your client acquisition that way. Module 7, everything you could need to know to make your search result be the one that stands out, your one that secures the click, the one that gets the attention of your ideal prospect. All of the other functions and little tools and tricks with Google Ads that we didn't have time to cover today. The whole A to Z of it all. Again, perfecting your offer. There are some differences between Google and Facebook. As I touched upon earlier, Facebook was sort of interrupting people, saying, hey, come over here, I've got what you need. Whereas with Google, people are searching and you're trying to present yourself as the best option. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that with tons of examples. And then we're going to build it all together as well in Module 9, step by step, so you can't get it wrong. Your tracking, your pixel, your keywords, and everything we didn't have time to cover today, covered in extensive detail. This is genuinely my life's work, and that's not an exaggeration when I say that. I hope from spending some time with me today, and if you've been on any of my trainings before, I'm very much a straight talking, down-to-earth guy, and I can say hand on heart that this has been a massive undertaking and a huge amount of value and time that I've poured into this. And on that note, there is also a bonus module for those of you that perhaps, like me, maybe were very uncomfortable with the idea of creating video ads and video content for your business. I basically walk you through my experience with this and everything that I learned that helped me to not only apply this in my business for massive growth, but many client projects, many client campaigns as well. How you can make videos that are going to convert, get the attention of the right people, and ultimately lead to you connecting with your ideal clients. Now, I just want to quickly show you another video that we've prepared from another batch of students that have gone through this program. Some really good stories here. Have a quick look at this.
I could recommend the course 100%, so because Sean will guide you through the whole process, and if you're stumbling around in the dark, he'll put you right and move you forward.
Sean's training style is friendly, relaxed, very knowledgeable. specific when he has to be very honest, which for me was the key thing. That was the real key thing.
So it's very easy to follow, very easy to apply as well. Because I'm so new, like beginner, I could rewind the course over and over and over. Oh my God, it was worth, every penny.
Sean is fantastic. I think he's a great educator, a great teacher, a great tutor. He breaks everything down very simply. Any kind of the complexities of the programme, he breaks it down into easy to digest sections, chunks, to just make it work easier. And he's always there. He's always there to answer our questions. You can email, get in touch. Just knowing that Sean will be there to help and support. You're not just left on your own.
If you want to upscale your business, there is nothing better than learn from the best.
It was life changing for me. It gave me a whole new business.
I felt I wasn't getting much out of Facebook marketing nor Google. I just did the basic. I didn't know what else to do. I just want to scale up my campaigns and stuff. And I did what many people do, which is just boost your post, which is not very good, is it?
Before I enrolled in the training, I was, like I said to you before, I was stumbling around in the dark, producing ineffective content, and basically just putting stuff out there without having any awareness of what actually I was putting out there, because I wasn't a marketer. So the natural conclusion to that was it was an absolute resounding failure.
The first impression was amazing because, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Basically, all the mistakes that I ever made, he would say, don't do this. I thought, okay, so now I know why nothing works, right?
We had been working on my adverts and I had got them to a level which Sean had said that leave it, that's fine, let it sit, don't tinker with it, don't play with it, it'll work. And it was that knowledge and confidence that he knew what he was doing that allowed me to just let it sit, working for a week or two, and then the results started. And as soon as the results started, the confidence in the process and the confidence knowing that it all works just started to grow week by week.
I got plenty of leads with the Facebook ads. I decided to try Google, again, just because I know that's like a wee bit more intention driven behind that, because people are searching for it. To be honest, nearly every lead I got from there I converted to a booking. About 25 new clients, yeah.
My Facebook page has so much more traffic. It's even hard to say how it was and how it's now. My website has, since I did the Facebook review, my graphic was like this, and all of a sudden went like that. Seriously, exponentially like that. Hasn't come down yet. If you own a small business like mine, and I would, I would definitely recommend that to anyone that wants to upscale their business. Go for it, because the results are there for you to see, right? This is the thing, you don't have to wait long. Like I say, it's been 3 months, and the results are pretty clear.
100% worth every penny that's been invested in it, for sure. What I've got back from the investment is just, it's just mind blowing what you get in the program. Absolutely mind blowing.
Makes the effort all worth it, Ali.
It's actually a confession time. You notice we put a caption on Angela's video. She generated 25 inbound client inquiries. And I said in 2 months when we captioned this, I actually checked with Sean just before we started. That was in her first month of using this Google strategy. I had assumed it was a couple of months, but actually it was her first month of using Sean's Google strategy. Now, Angela got an average, as you should, average order value at least £300. So someone will book more than one session perhaps. That's £7,500. That's $10,000 of revenue in our first month of using strategy. And I can tell you that Angela, as you maybe tell from her accent, is based in Glasgow, which is not exactly a hotbed of enlightenment and personal development. So basically what I'm telling you that is wherever you are in the world, you can do that well. And then of course you could scale it from there. The sky really is the limit. So this is an astonishing program. I'll be delighted to guide you through everything that's included here. Now, Sean and I put our heads together and we know this space pretty well between us. And the bottom line here is that most of this training just simply is not available anywhere else. But we dug around on the internet to see where we could find comparable trainings or similar, and so we could get what other people are charging for this kind of thing. Now, the complete Facebook ad training, which frankly, Sean's course is better than anything else I've ever seen. We put a value of $5,000 on that. The truth is, I know there are other programs out there which are $10,000 or even $15,000 that are not as comprehensive, but you know me, I always like to err on the somewhat more conservative side. Also, complete Google training is at least $3,500 worth of value there. Copywriting framework and the knowledge of consumer psychology, we value at $1,250. And AI training, we know this one for sure, is at least $1,000 elsewhere. Now, as I always try and do when we put programs together, we try and think of everything. You know, this should be your only place that you need to be for really world-class training. That's what we pride ourselves in at Education, is that, you know, from curious to qualified, and you literally, as they say, cradle to grave, everything you need is all in one place. And that's what Sean has built here from the advertising perspective. Sean's tools, methods, strategies, you just can't find anywhere else. I mean, this man has generated millions and millions and millions in revenue for his clients over the years. And frankly, although there will be literally a handful of other people who could maybe say the same, they will not share how they did it. And that's what's really cool. Here, it's very much like, say, I do in my own training, is I'll share how to do it in a way that really nobody else will. So you'll also enjoy the Clicks and Clients handbook to download. Some of you loves downloading things, printing them off, scribbling in the margin. I know I do. I'm old school. There's also a Clicks and Clients community. Now, that's a community of people actively looking to find clients, build their practice and scale, and support each other. And then, now this is, I think, it's worth more than the price ticket 10 times over alone. You'll be able to join Sean every month for a clinic. And what he does there, and you would hear Glenn, who's the chap in the white sweatshirt, particularly talking about the feedback and support, and Angela as well, we got from Sean, is in those coaching sessions, those monthly clinics, it's quite normal for Sean to ask you to share your screen with him so that he'll take you through and look at your ad account and say, as Glenn said, no, don't do that. No, do this, or change that. Or, okay, it's good now, we'll leave it alone and let it do its thing. So you really are getting very much a hands-on experience of working with Sean, and that takes the form of a hot seat consultancy, which you just cannot get anywhere else, certainly not to this quality. If you were to price all that up, you get to nearly $30,000, £22,000. I still think that's worth it, to be honest. I really do, because if you think of somewhere that you could pay, £22,000 and be generating £7,500 worth of revenue in month one, 3 months, and you've paid for your training. Now that's still a really good deal. However, now I think this will knock your socks off. The education price is £997. That's it. $1,297. And there's a payment plan available. Now, the reason we've done this, and I said that £22,000 it would still be a good deal. The reason we've done this is because the time is right now. The trend is heading in the right direction. The world needs our help. as Sean talked about, Facebook's algorithm has got so good now that if you are, you want to take the first step to make a real big difference in your own life, then I wanted to make it so that anyone who wanted to take that step could do so. This information should not just be for, the rich. This is improper information. It should be in the hands of everybody who wants to use it to be able to build their practice, make a difference in the world, and help. Do well for yourself by doing good for other people. And so that's why this course is priced at one of our least expensive or smallest investments of any course, is so that you can do it. Because I would dearly love every single person here on this session to say, do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to, give it a go. I'm going to take best foot forward with Sean's support. And let's be honest, at that price of $997 and with a payment plan, you don't need many clients for it to pay for itself. I mean, literally 2 or 3. And the truth is that if I think back to my own career, I've done something like 45,000 client sessions, and I used to see 10 or 12 clients in a day. So just work out what your return on investment could be. And in fact, if you work out what the return on investment is over everything, I spent more than this on my first training course, and think about how many times that's returned to me over the years. This is a great place to invest, because you're investing in you, you're investing in the potential that's there right now, and you're investing in a program where you're supported by one of genuinely the very best in the world. Doesn't get any better than that. You'll notice that the payment plan is over 6 months, and it has to be. We don't have any flexibility on that, but we've tried to keep it as inexpensive as possible so that anyone who wants to do this can do it with our support. I'd love to thank Sean for being here and sharing so generously today. I mean, what you've learned in this training program alone today would usually have a price of, several hundred, if not $1,000. It really is quite an incredible thing. If you think about what you shared today, and we're only really scratching the surface to whet your appetite about the possibility. Here at Education with Sean's help, we've brought in, I think, something like 26,000 client inquiries over the years. So the demand is absolutely there. That's millions and millions of dollars worth of client inquiries. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't have your share of that as well. All you have to do is join the program. You can do that by clicking on the link that Jem has posted into the chat here in Zoom, or you can check your email, your inbox, where you will almost certainly have an email from us, and all you have to do is click on the link. That will take you through to the page enrollment screen, where you'll find all the information you could ever want on the program. Select which option you prefer, whether you want to enroll with your fees all up front or whether you want to take the payment plan. Makes no difference, but please, I would love for you to be part of this program. I would dearly love for all people who are here live or watching on catch up to be able to go out there and help a lot of people, and then be in a really safe and secure position for yourself and your families. That would be really special. Thank you everyone for being with us both today. Thank you, Sean, and I look forward to hearing of your successes really soon. I love hearing those testimonials and feedback of people saying, oh, in fact, the guy in the white sweatshirt, his name's Glenn, and he was too busy to speak to me the other week because he was fully booked. Isn't that just awesome? So that could be you, because he won't mind me telling you this, prior to the program, he ran a cafe. He had no previous experience in marketing, no previous experience in therapy, just curious, and followed Sean's advice, followed my advice, and then Sean's advice, and he'll do 6 figures from his work because he's fully booked. Thank you everyone for being with me. I really do appreciate you very much, and I'll see you again somewhere very soon, I hope. Thanks all. Take care. Bye-bye for now.